All right, welcome to Obsessed Garage. We're going to talk about I would call this a temporary solution. Now, we'll show you what it looks like next door that's more permanent at my other building. But my intent here was to just get something to hold me over. My air conditioning has really been struggling. This brand new AC system that I put in, it's been struggling to keep up with the building, specifically this area of the garage. And so I wanted something to hold me over. Being as the supply chain is really messed up, I have a fear that getting a set of doors is going to take months and months and months. But the longer term intent is to swap these out and to the doors completely and to put in an insulated, roll up style door. Specifically, I think I'm going to do the 6202 CHI. And I believe it's an aluminum slat with a poly core that'll increase my heat rejection and R value and all that stuff. And we'll do some brush seals and rubber flaps and really seal up the door to make sure there's no air escaping. But step one to hold me over, which is a pretty inexpensive thing to do, is to do this Reflectix. They call it insulation. I think it's more of a double-sided radiant barrier. So there's basically some bubble wrap in between this, or sandwiched in between this little radiant barrier on either side. It's rated at an R value of 3.7. Plus, we're doing this on a door that isn't particularly well insulated. There's, air gaps. I can see sunlight right here. So I'm going to do a couple of other measures. I'll show you in a second here to shore this up. But I did want to at least help out. I mean, even right now, through the radiant barrier, I can feel heat. This door, this time of day, 90 plus degree Florida heat and sun would be, too hot to touch. And if you stood here, you could feel the heat radiating off of it. So I bought this from Menards. It's like $180 for a 100-foot roll. You can see I have a good third of the roll left over. And then they also have their own foil tape, Reflectix tape. And so I bought half a dozen rolls. I think for this project, for these two doors, I probably only needed 2 rolls, maybe 3, 2.5 rolls. So I do have, I think maybe 3.5 rolls. I think I have 2.5 rolls left over after doing this. So the project works like this. You lay out the stuff, lay it out on the floor, measure it. You want to be, I think, pretty precise. And you're always going to be better off over measuring than under. And the other thing to keep in mind when you're doing your measurement is the door goes past the jamb, especially on most of these roll-ups. And believe it or not, this door is set up differently than that door. That door actually has a different channel or different, whatever you call the track. And so that door I did by myself. I did it, that's a 12 by 10 door. This is a 12 by 12 door. I did that door myself in maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, where this door was quite a bit more of a fight. So get your horizontal measurement of the door. These are both exactly 147 inches if you go inside the track to the edge of the roll-up door. And so that door I cut exactly 147 inches. I tried the same thing on here, but you can see this Reflectix is kind of peeking out here on the edge because of the tighter seal here. I had a harder time where the track is a little bit closer to the inside of the door. I had a bit of a difficult time getting this to get flush and fit in place. If I was going to do this permanently, I probably would have taken the darn door off and tried to do it that way. I'll show you some pictures of what next door looks like, where it was very clearly set up in mind. The bottom seal was actually bolted on after, and same thing with the hinges. The hinges were bolted on after the fact, or this one I'm doing this. So they did the insulation first and then did the bottom track, and then they also did a sealing where you'd want to frame this out, and they have a much better seal on a more permanent design of doing this sort of insulation technique. So we measure it out, lay it on the floor, make sure your measurement's pretty spot on. I'm cutting it with my really expensive, go look up ARS Kevlar scissors if you want to crap your pants, but those things cut through this like butter. And then I found another mistake, especially on this door. The first door I was using, I believe it's called V71 3M. That has a 15-minute set time. And so that gives you plenty of time, and it's real nice and tacky, where you can kind of set the center of the door and slowly work your way out. You can see a couple of spots here on the door where I push a little bit too, or I came this way instead of working out, and I kind of bunched it up. I only did that on two spots. So it's pretty easy to not do that if you take your time, and it is really a two-person job. I was doing it primarily by myself. So you'd also likely, for permanence, you'd get a better seal if you were to spray glue both the door and the Reflectix. But you need something like the V71, because I did grab a couple of bottles of Gorilla Glue. I noticed later, I tried it on one piece, actually it was this piece here. I tried it, and it only, and I actually read the instructions after I used it, it has a 3-minute set time. So by the time I got here, there was no tackiness left to it. It wouldn't stick. So I had to go back to Home Depot, get a couple more cans of the 3M stuff, and it worked well. But in a perfect world, you would spray the door and the Reflectix, and then you'd get a much better bond. I don't see any peeling or any lifting. It's a combination of being flush inside of the track, the Reflectix tape, and the adhesive. The adhesive is really just to kind of keep it from drooping, but you'll notice that it does seat pretty well. That door, because of its ability to tuck all the way in the track, a good half an inch, maybe a little more, that door I think will be much more permanent and will do will do much better longer because of the track style that it has. So after you do the adhesive, then you go and tape, and I taped each section as I worked through it. You're going to want to clean up pretty well. You're going to want to clean up the bottom piece here. I didn't take the time to clean it very well. You may want to sand it and then clean it with some sort of isopropyl alcohol or something like that to get the bottom tape bead to stick. Or in a perfect world, if you want this to be permanent, take off the hinges, take off the bottom piece, do the insulation, tape it, and then sandwich and put the bottom bead or whatever, the bottom channel on the door, put that on after the fact. So then I worked my way up. I went from bottom up. Next door, whenever they did that professionally, that was clearly done from top down. I went from bottom up. It was just a little bit easier. As I got to the top, the last piece, I left enough room so that I could reach up into the drum and get one last bead of tape, because I'd assumed that the glue, the adhesive, would need some tape, top and bottom of the piece of Reflectix, in order to get it done properly. So, this door took me probably 3-4 hours to do. That door took me maybe a couple hours total. Normally the second door, the second time I do something, it's a lot easier. The tracks really made it more difficult. The next step on these doors is to do a channeled brush seal. And so I have these, I think I got these from like commercialgaragedoors.com or something like that. So this is a brush seal that slides into a channel, like so. We'll show you one outside, but it looks like I did one of them. But this will seal up the edge of the door on the side. Outside, we'll do this from the exterior. And then I have a 3-inch seal to go up top, at the very top. A lot of times on these doors, what they use is they use a rubber flap at the top. Again, I'm looking for a temporary solution. This cost me a few $100 to get these, to sort of try it out, see how it works. Because I think it's probably gonna be 6 or 8 months before I can actually get a door installed. Hopefully it's sooner than that. But the other innocent byproduct of this is that the door is a lot quieter. So as you're moving the door up and down, or if someone should bang on the door, it's quite a bit quieter, not as creaky and squeaky. And then theoretically over time, as this goes up, since the Reflectix tucks into the channel, into the track, it'll stay in place as you roll the door up and down. It's 90-something degrees outside, so I'm not going to put the door up here today. But that's Reflectix stuff. Spent probably $200 in glue, and another 200 bucks in tape and Reflectix. And then the brush seals are probably another 300 bucks or so. So for 2 giant doors, 6 months, I'll probably save something close to that in just energy savings from having, a door that's somewhat sealed up and is quite a bit more energy efficient until I get a better door in here that's going to cost thousands of dollars. So anyway, I thought this might be useful to you. This is not a residential solution. You don't want to use this on a residential garage door. You won't be able to get the benefits of it. You would want to do some sort of foam insulation where you tucked it in your into the door pockets. But for this application, it works pretty well. So thanks for watching. Always fumbling around with garage ideas. The only reason I knew about this is because my other building has this on it. And so then I was forced to figure out what it was and then found it at Menards. And we'll put the links where I bought it from in the description. So thanks for watching. More garage stuff coming here soon. See you soon.